So if you would first let me introduce the table to you, we'll then hear from those involved, we will then hand over for press questions. So to the rear of the top table, from left to right, we have the challenger for the IBF Intercontinental Welterweight belt from Ukraine, Viktor Plotnikov. And next to Victor we have our CWM Cyclone boxer, starting with the man making his debut on Saturday evening from Portsmouth, Josh Pritchard. And centre of the back row we have the man 5-0 from Coe Island, Conrad Cumming. And sitting next to Conrad, the Irish and WBO European featherweight champion from Belfast, Northern Ireland, Marco McCullough. Next to Marco, we have one of the most exciting heavyweights in the country, undefeated, 13-0, 10 by way of knockout from Brixton, London, Dillian White. And sitting next to Dillian, he will be challenging Viktor Plotnikov for the IBF Intercontinental Welterweight belt. Former Commonwealth welterweight champion from Manchester, England, the one and only Denton Vassell. And finishing off the top table, we've all heard of the Pac-Man, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is the Pat-Man from Belfast, Northern Ireland, Paddy Gallagher. So moving on to the expensive seats, ladies and gentlemen, in the front row. From our far right, we have the manager of the challenger. Please welcome once again to Belfast, Mike Criscio. And next to Mike, we have the trainer of the challenger. Please welcome Felipe Avalos. Moving right across to the left-hand side of the top table, we have one of the men who puts all these contests together, works very hard behind the scenes for CWM Cyclone. Please welcome Jake McGuigan. And sitting next to Jake, a man who needs no introduction on these shores, but he's going to get one anyway. He is the head coach, the head trainer, Shane McGuigan. Centre table, ladies and gentlemen, the CEO of CWM Cyclone Promotions, former world champion, Barry McGuigan. And to Barry's right, we have the mandatory challenger for the title. 27 contests, 25 wins, 19 inside the distance. From Lancaster, California, USA, Chris, the Hitman, Avalos. And ladies and gentlemen, the last person we're going to introduce here this afternoon, he is the reigning, defending IBF Super Bantamweight Champion of the World, the undefeated Carl the Jackal Frampton. So I think it's only right, ladies and gentlemen, for our first word from the CEO, Mr. Barry McGuigan.
Thank you, Craig. This is another historic event coming up on Saturday night. It's tremendous to be able to say that we're going to have terrestrial television in the shape of ITV. The undercard is going to be entirely on ITV4. We flipped to ITV1 at 10 to 11. It's magnificent. We know we had over 1 million people watch the Golovkin-Murray fight last week, and we feel pretty sure that we're going to get at least double that on Saturday night. It's a very exciting fight. Chris Avalos is a tremendous challenger, and he's got a great record, and he's coming here to win, and we know that he will provide a very stiff test for Carl Frampton. It will be a brilliant event for everybody who will be ringside and in the arena, and it will be a brilliant event for all of those watch it on television. Nothing more to say really. Both guys have trained very hard, and we want the undercard to be spectacular. I think you'll see from what Jake and the boys have put out that we have a tremendous undercard. We're trying to accommodate everybody, bearing in mind that a lot of our viewers are going to be across the water. So we want to try and facilitate everybody, but I think we've done that. It's a magnificent undercard. It will be a magnificent main event, but there's only going to be one winner. And it's
Ladies and gentlemen, two men here, we want to hear from beyond anyone else, and we're going to turn firstly to the challenger. So a few words please from Chris Avalos.
I'd like to thank McGregor for having me on television, for coming. And yeah, I mean, what else can I say that I haven't said? I mean, I'm ready to fight. So it's going to be a good fight. That's pretty much all I can say. I mean, I don't know what else you guys really want me to say. And for his information, I'm going to take the battle. I ain't come all the way out here to lose, so it's pretty stupid I come out here to lose. Makes no sense.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Carl Frampton.
He usually talks a little bit more than that, so he hasn't said much there. I think he's obviously a little bit tight on the weight, but he's in a bad mood and stuff. But I'm expecting a tough fight. It's going to be a tough fight. I've prepared hard for it, but this guy knows what's going to happen. He's lost twice before to guys who don't compare to me, so you know what's going to happen here on Saturday night. It's going to be another loss. He's used to it already, and it'll be just more of the same.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've heard from the boxers. Let's hear from the guys behind the boxers. If we could turn to the manager of Chris Avalos for a few words from Mike Christian.
I want to thank Mr. McGuigan for having us here, TV for having us on. It's been very welcoming here. Everybody's been nice to us. But somebody's got to go on Saturday, and I hate to tell you, Carl, you're going to lose your title. It's going to be a short stay for you, and at the end, we'll see who's the new champion. So we'll see Saturday night. Nothing else to say.
So I don't really believe you when you're saying that. It looks like you're very nervous when you say that. It's like you don't believe yourself.
I'll tell you what. Would you like to bet some of your purse at the 5-to-1 odds? Because I'll love to take your money, brother. How much would you like to put up for your money?
He said all right, so I want you to notice that he said all right. So what does that mean? Clear it, what?
You.
Clear it.
Clear what?
Okay, you gonna bet or what? What you gonna do?
I'm going to bet you or your minder.
Okay, you can bet both. There's no bet.
What's the bet?
You can bet both of us. You heard what he
bet?
said? Clearly.
I wouldn't like to take your money off you. You've had the same for actually how long?
All right, that's a no. He doesn't want to bet. He doesn't want to bet his money.
Every time I've seen you, you've been wearing that coat, so I would like
He's making excuses. He doesn't want to bet his money. That's okay. Tarvin did the same thing in one interview too, when I beat his ass for $100 grand. So, hey, you know what? All good.
Fortunately, all of us weren't born with a silver spoon in them, so.
Who's had the silver spoon?
You,
I've had the silver spoon. Okay. I'm from the ghetto, mate. I'm from TV, mate. That's the ghetto.
Still gonna whoop your ass anyway.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we will.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
will. It's gonna happen.
Listen, you've spouted off and you've mouthed off, and I've listened to your interview, which we can refute in every different angle. Bottom line is, the reason we're here, this kid draws people in. Look at the room. He draws people in. He's exciting. He was above you in all of the rankings. He is the better fighter, and tomorrow night he will prove it. Okay?
We'll see.
Tomorrow night, we will see. Not tomorrow night. Saturday night.
That's why he's got his name written on his back, so when he's laying on the canvas, you'll know who the hell's on the floor. Carl!
Mr. Pissio, you're going to make yourself very unpopular. I advise you to keep your mouth shut.
I'm not here to be friendly. I'm not here to be popular. I'm here to win a fight. This is a fight. This isn't about popularity contest.
That's
This is
exactly
about
right. That's what's going to happen tomorrow night. Okay.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, one man we haven't heard from, and we're always delighted to hear from him. is the trainer of the Jackal. A few words from Shane McGuigan.
Thanks for coming out, guys. Really appreciate all the support. Been a great camp. Carl's trained exceptionally hard. I'm sure Chris Avalos has too, but I believe Carl's going to beat him, going to knock him out. But it's going to be a really exciting fight, and I'm looking forward to it. And to be part of another fight, especially being on ITV1, is going to be massive. So thanks.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we will open for press questions very shortly. But before we do so, and we would like you during press questions to please ask some questions of the undercard, because we have a stellar undercard here.
Please do, yeah.
A fantastic undercard, and one of the men behind the scenes is going to tell you a little bit about it, and that is Jake McGuigan.
Yeah, I mean, we have a pretty stacked undercard. We have Dillian White in a 10-round heavyweight contest against another unbeaten fighter. So there's two unbeaten fighters against each other. Likewise, in the middleweight division with Conrad Cummings fighting an undefeated kid, 4-0. So we're not matching them easy. We have Denton Veselin against Viktor Plotnikov. Denton, former Commonwealth champion, against Viktor, former European champion. So it'll be a cracking fight. Anthony Kakachi steps up against Santiago Bustos, who beat Ben Jones, reputable English fighter, in his last fight. So it's going to be a very, very hard contest for Anto. 8 rounds, but he's ready to step up. He's ready to win titles this year. Mark McCullough, just coming back from hand injury, Mark. So we've got some massive plans for him. Been speaking to the WBO, so there's going to be a big fight around the corner for Mark, but he's got to kind of ease his way back into it with his hand problems now. He's in an 8-round contest. We have Paddy Gallagher in against Miguel Aguirre. Be a tough contest for Paddy, but I'm sure he's an exciting talent, so I'm sure he'll show everybody that. And Josh Pritchard, it's his debut, so you know, we all want you to have a good look at Josh Pritchard. He's a super talent, so yeah, look out for Josh.
Well, thank you, Jake. Now, we're going to hand over for press questions. How this is going to work is we're going to ask the CEO, Barry, will point out, please put your hands up. Please allow me to come to you with the microphone, and that is so that the TV cameras can pick up the question as well as the answer. So please, if you just direct hands up to Barry, Barry will pick you out for questions. Somebody's got to have a question, guys.
David Kelly from Belfast Telegraph, Sunday night.
Carl, all week, Chris has made claim that he believes he's the hardest guy you've faced, and it's going to come down to who's toughest. Is that how you see it? Who's going to be the hardest on a night, like a trench warfare fight?
It may well be, but whatever it takes to win this fight, I'm prepared to do. If it's going to be stand in the middle of the ring and outfight this guy and out-strength him and just outbox him, do whatever it has to take to beat this guy. It's going to be. I'm not expecting it to be easy. That's the truth. He's coming here thinking or making himself believe that it's going to be an easy fight. I know he's a good fighter, but I'm better. That's it.
And would you rate him higher than the likes of Quigg?
Yeah, I do rate him higher than Scott Quigg. I honestly, it isn't about Scott Quigg, to be honest. Quigg's a Sky TV hype job, if I'm being honest. It's not about him. It's about me and Avalos. I believe that Chris Avalos is a better fighter than Quigg. And it's obviously going to be a tougher fight than a Quigg fight, but it's all about this game. I'm focused on him and no one else.
Gentlemen, any questions? Barry will point you out.
Just so you know, we're not coming over here thinking that he's going to walk right through this guy. It's going to be a tough fight. You asked him a question, is he tough, is he that? They're both tough fighters. They're both great fighters. We obviously believe that we're going to win the fight, and I do believe Chris is going to win the fight, but they're both tough, they both have stamina, they're both going at each other. It's going to be a great fight. We'll be victorious, but obviously they're both going to get a fight. And they are probably the best competition they both faced so far.
So gentlemen, hands up. Any next questions, Barry?
Anybody else? Kevin Byrne from the Irish Sun.
Yeah, cheers, Barry. Chris, sorry, this directed to Chris. I read an interview in a different newspaper that your view of Carl is that he's a boxer who runs from a fight rather than engaging. Which fights of his have given you this impression? And can you tell me where you see your own strengths being superior to Carl's?
Yeah, he just boxes around that. I've seen that in the Martinez fights, and he claims that's the strongest fighter he's ever fought. And he's learning from that dude, so.
Maybe you're watching.
first one or the second one?
Both of them, actually. So, they're both like, it's doing the same thing, basically.
I don't even know what to say to that. Silly, you know. Let him believe what he wants. If he thinks I'm going to come in here and run away from him, let him believe that.
Carl, well, I suppose based on it, do you feel that this is the sort of fight where you're going to need to use kind of similar tactics? Like, you know, obviously you're saying you ran from Martinez, which isn't strictly as a lot of people saw the fight.
Yeah.
You needed to bring in certain kind of defensive mechanisms for the Martinez fight.
Yeah.
Do you see this being a similar kind of fight where you need to box on the back foot?
Well, we've got a game plan. I'm not going to give too much away. We've got a game plan, and if we have to switch from plan A to plan B or to plan C, I'll be able to do that. But it just depends how this guy comes out. I can deal with anything that he puts in front of me, and it's as simple as that. You think, you know, I don't know, did he actually watch the Kiko fight to say that I knocked him out the first time? The second time I held the centre of the ring and pushed on in the second half of the fight. I don't know if he's actually watched it or not, the way he's talking.
Even with a sore hand. Okay, Kevin, so that's fine. Anybody else? May as well go down to the stage.
Carl,
Tell me your name again, will you?
David.
David. Okay, David, thanks.
Carl, the Kiko Martinez fight, Kiko's kind of a shorter kind of guy, Chris is quite tall. Do you see this one being a bit more like the Raul Morales fight?
No, Raul Morales is my first 12 rounder, so to be honest, I was pacing myself that fight, and I wanted to see if I could do 12 rounds. I had doubts in my own head. You know, it was my first 12 round. I wanted to compose myself, and I pushed on the last 3 rounds, and ever since that fight, I fought at a high pace in each of my fights after it. So that was just a tester for myself. I'm a different fighter now than the one that fought Raul Morales. I just outboxed him. I could have put it on him if I wanted, but listen, whatever it takes. This guy, he's a good fighter. He's a good fighter, but he's there to be hit. And I'm one of the most accurate super bantamweights in the world. I'm the hardest punching super bantamweight in the world, that's for sure.
Yes, Steve.
Barry, just a quick one. Who's the referee for the main event?
Howard Foster is the referee. David?
Chris, Carl has dominated virtually every opponent he has faced. What have you got that's going to make it any different on Saturday night?
You have to wait till Saturday, maybe. So,
You seem to be getting a bit nervous ahead of this big event. Is this big occasion starting to get
I'm not nervous. It's different.
Sorry?
It's excitement more than nervous. I mean, why would I be nervous? Never be nervous. So
Because you haven't been in this stage before the world title.
that doesn't mean
It's a valid
A
question.
lot of defeated guys who fought good records.
exactly. So it doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me at all.
Felipe, can I just ask you how you assess Carl Frampton? How you assess Carl Frampton's ability?
Well, I think that's going to be a good fight, but like I said, my son, I think he's better than this guy. I think we're going to come to the top. We're going to win the fight. No more than 6 rounds.
6
No,
rounds?
6, 7 rounds. That's it. He's going to be on the floor.
Barry, just a question to yourself. Overall, Barry, just how big an opportunity is this for Cars in terms of the profile and just what it can mean for his career?
Well, in fairness, each time we sort of ratchet it up, it becomes that little bit more important. And there is pressure because, you know, it's a big event. It's a big event for ITV. It's a big event for CW and Cyclone. So it's all, each time you go further, it's ratcheted up a little bit more. And of course, there are big fights out there as well. We're not looking beyond Saturday night, but there are huge fights in the distance as well. So obviously there's a great deal of importance. But you know, this kid, he thrives on pressure. He's the most calm fighter I've ever seen. He loves pressure. He loves fellas to spout off and say what they're going to do to him, etc. He's, you know, safe in the knowledge that he can really fight. That's the difference. And he doesn't need to spout off. So we're happy with everything, and we're happy that Chris has come along with Mike and his dad, and they are confident, because that's what we want, and we want him to show that level of cockiness and brashness on Saturday night. That's really important. We don't want him just to talk about it. We want him on that first bell to show me that cockiness and brashness, because that's what we want. So anyway, listen, that's about it, guys. Thank you very much for turning out. Have we any more to say, Craig? Anything more to? No, nothing really. Really appreciate that everybody's been patient, and normally these things drag on and take a bit of time, but we have phenomenal support in Belfast. You are phenomenal people, and that's why we come here, because we know you are the best supporters in the world, and I know you will lift the roof on Saturday night. So thank you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the public part of the press conference, and on behalf of Barry CWM Cycling, thank you once again for turning out in great numbers.